Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1871. This week we are celebrating the Quail, a motorsports gathering that takes place Friday, August 13th at the Quail Lodge and Golf Course in Carmel Valley, California. To learn more, go to peninsula.com.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in beautiful Marina del Rey by the Pacific Ocean with a very special returning guest by the name of Jakob Greisen. Hey, Jakob, welcome back to Cars Yeah. Do you have it in gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
I sure am, Mark. Thank you for having me again.
Well, good to have you back. You know, I was looking back, and you were on, when I was doing the Buy Sell Hold podcast with Keith Martin, you were our guest then. But then I looked way back. You were guest number 552 back in July of 2016. Here we are, August of 2021, and you're guest number 1871. So I've talked to a lot of people since you were last here. But one thing I didn't ask you last time, before I give you a proper introduction, what's one little thing that most people don't know about you, Jakob?
I would say most people don't know that I am very much a big Elvis fan. I collect some of the memorabilia, and Elvis Presley has a very special place in my heart. I put on one of his songs, and it can put me in a totally different mood. So I don't think most people know that.
Well, as Elvis would say, thank you very much for sharing that. So that was my best Elvis impression. I wish I could sing and dance like that guy. Maybe I'd be a little more famous, right?
He had talent that, he could play a few chords on a guitar, but that's kind of where it ended. But his charisma and his personality, he could certainly sing.
He was a showman. An amazing showman. And it's funny you mentioned Elvis. I didn't know that about you, so that's pretty cool. I go back and look at some of the YouTube videos of him and the last part of his career, and the guy just had it.
Isn't it amazing, right? Isn't it amazing?
Even when he was having, challenges with drugs and weight and all the stuff that he was dealing with, he still had it. He could just light up a crowd. Amazing guy. We just lost him way too soon.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
true.
Cool. My mom's a huge Elvis fan. Growing up in West Memphis, Arkansas, and she loved Elvis. Yeah. So very cool. Well, let me give you a proper introduction. We're going to dive into, or shake our hips into, if you listeners can envision that. Maybe you don't want to. A little Elvis shake here. Jakob Greisen is the Bonhams Vice President, head of their U.S. motoring, and a Collectors Motorcar Specialist. Bonhams is a British auction house that was founded way back in 1793. It's one of the world's oldest and largest auctioneers, known internationally for fine art, antiques, jewelry, automobilia, motorcycles, and of course, what we love here, fine motor cars. The auctions are held in conjunction with some of the most renowned global motoring events, including the Quail, which we'll be talking about today, Goodwood Revival, and many others. So Jakob gets to go to some interesting places. Jakob holds memberships in numerous motoring clubs, and he's an avid enthusiast and collector of motor cars and motorcycles. Bonhams will be back again this year at the Quail, a motor sports gathering. We'll be back in just a minute, but first a word from our sponsors. So sit tight, keep your seatbelts on, think a little Elvis music, and we'll be right back. Summer's here, thank goodness, and that means long, hot days. Covercraft's UVS custom sunscreens are quality made and are incredibly fast and easy to use. Your UVS sunscreen is custom tailored for your vehicle, and the accordion design ensures easy storage. Not only do they protect your dash and interior for maximum protection while parking in the sun, sunscreens keep your vehicle's interior significantly cooler. They're durable and dependable for years of use. I have one for all my vehicles, and I use them every time I park my car when I'm not going to put the cover on. You can choose from a variety of colors, including the original, their Premier Series, and Carhartt designs. Your sunscreen is manufactured with the quality and attention to detail that's been the standard for Covercraft since 1965. And they make really great gifts, too. Get your summer deal today if you use the code YEAH21, YEAH21 at covercraft.com. You'll get 10% off your Covercraft order. That's right, 10% 20% off compliments of Cars Yeah. Simply use the code YEAH21 at checkout. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Get your own custom sunscreen today. Last year, I changed my collector car coverage to American Collectors Insurance. That's who now protects my Porsche Turbo, the one I call my Orange Crush. But did you know they also insure your valuable collections of automobilia and other collectibles? If you're like me, you've invested in a lot of cool collectibles over the years. Those items are valuable. And if you were to lose them in a theft or a fire, well, try to get your normal homeowner's insurance to pay you what they're worth. Good luck with that. American Collectors Insurance provides you with assurance and confidence that your collectibles are fully covered. They insure a lot of items, including automobilia, wine, baseball cards, books, figurines, die-cast models, model trains, glassware, sports memorabilia, toys, and a whole lot more. American Collectors Insurance, they've been protecting us enthusiasts since 1976. They provide you with an agreed value insurance policy backed by a long history of taking care of their clients. Give them a call today for your personal agreed value quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of mine, Mark Raines here at Cars Yeah. American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. So, Jacob, we're back. So let's dive a little deeper into the corner, and I'd love for you to talk just a little bit more for listeners that maybe missed our talk back when about Bonhams, what Bonhams is all about, and then let's talk about the Quail, because this is an event you guys have been to many years, and it's such a cool event, but the fact that you guys are there, you're part of it, and you're bringing cars is pretty darn special. So grab the wheel, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, this is our 24th year at the Quail, or there in Carmel Valley, in beautiful Carmel. You know what's funny, Mark? I've actually never been to the Quail Concours myself.
What?
I must have given out hundreds of tickets, but
Yeah.
I have never gone myself.
Wow.
You know, we're always busy on that day with the auction, of course, but we're right adjacent to the Quail. Our 24th year, as I said, we have a great lineup of cars, 139 cars total, which will all be sold Friday the 13th, starting in the morning with a nice brunch, getting everybody in the mood to buy some cars. Of course, we have our preview starting Wednesday morning already, but you know, we'll be up there for a good week and a half. We travel up and you know, get all the cars lined up and all of that.
Yeah.
Some of the highlights this year, there's really quite a lot of really great cars, but we were entrusted with Judge DiLoretto's collection. He was an avid collector and vintage racing driver from Southern California. We were selling his collection. One of the highlight cars in his collection is an Alfa Romeo Tipo 33, which he bought right from Auto Delta, right from the works team in 1980.
Oh my gosh.
So,
wow.
You know, many race cars have sort of a checkered past. This car is pure as driven snow, as we would say, and the documentation is just impeccable. We have letters right from the team manager at Auto Delta, right to Judge DiLoretto. When he bought it, he signed off that he couldn't sell it for the first 10 years. Of course, that's more than 40 years ago now, so we're free and clear to sell it on to the next custodian. Another great car is the early S-Type Mercedes we have. You know, in the late 20s, early 30s, well into the 30s, Mercedes-Benz was really making some very special cars. This is a beautiful supercharged Tourer, also with great provenance. This car has been in the consignor's family for 57 years. You know, for me personally, and I know my colleagues, other specialists, I mean, when we can offer something that hasn't been to market for decades, you know, something that has been cherished by a collector for so many years, and be the ones to bring it out, to market it, you know, really do the research and all of that's probably the most exciting cars for us to sell. We're so honored to be entrusted with these cars from such long homes. And I mean, I have a car, I have it owned for just 25 years. And, you know, if I was ever selling that, that would be a very tough decision. Another car sort of that, you know, they're out there. It's a 7327 RS. They made about 1,500.
Right.
But this car we're selling for the guy who bought it brand new.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
He ordered it brand new at Porsche in Johannesburg. He was from South Africa. It's the only 27 RS that came into South Africa. Therefore, it's a right-hand drive car. And they only made 100 of these in a right-hand drive configuration. So he flew to Zuffenhausen, took delivery in 73, shipped the car to Johannesburg, and he then migrated to America in the early 80s. Couldn't import it just yet. You know, in the 80s, they didn't want Euro market cars.
That's right. The gray market car syndrome. Yeah.
That's correct. So he left it behind with some family friends who took really good care of it. And about 25 years ago, he brought it back and shipped it back to the U.S. And the great thing about it, it is very, very original, which is something you want in a car like that. You know, you don't want cars that have had accidents or engines replaced and things like that. This car has the original interior, you know, all your gauges, you know, all the components are still the same. It had one light respray of the exterior body panels, otherwise it's original. So, you know, that's another really, really exciting car. Another great car is the Figonia Falaschi Talbot Lago, which we've been entrusted with from a Swiss client.
Wow.
I believe they made two in this body style. 1948. This car basically went right to the Concours d'Elegance events when it was brand new. In 1948 and 1949, it went to the Parisian or the Deauville, right on the northern coast of France. They had Concours d'Elegance back then. That's where it all started, actually. You know, Pebble Beach came not long after that, but these were the first shows. This car was there as it was brand new, so it's basically been
a long time show car.
Concours car. Exactly.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, we have a great GT40. The list goes on, and I hope people will come out. I'm confident they'll come out and see what we have and all of that.
I'm amazed when you said 24 years. I went, what? And then I went back and went, oh, that's right. I mean, I was at the first Quail. Because I've been going to Car Week for 30 years in a row. Last year, notwithstanding, man, starting to feel old here. It's incredible that you guys have been there for that long. It just doesn't seem like it. But then again, you're such a mainstay part of that spectacular event. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I wanted to talk about, aside from the incredible cars, and you listeners can go to the Bonhams website, you can see the spectacular cars that are going to be available. I mean, you guys get the best of the best. It's just absolutely amazing. I wanted you to talk a little bit, though, about the last 18 months of the 800-pound gorilla in the corner that's been stomping on our faces called the pandemic, and how that's affected the current market, because the collector car market seems to have only had a short little wobble at the beginning of the pandemic, and then it just took off and people are buying cars. I don't know if it's a matter of moving assets from one place to another, or it's just us car fanatics will always love cars no matter what's going on in the world. How have you at Bonham seen the current state of the collector car market?
So I see the market as very robust and very stable. When the pandemic hit, it wasn't like collectors, enthusiasts forgot about their passion for cars. I actually think it probably grew stronger for many. You know, they really had time to sit at home and, you know, think more about their hobby, which for many is collector cars. The market held really strong throughout the pandemic. There were less transactions, of course, but in the last 6 months, we have seen a very positive sort of upward swing. Our Amelia Island auction, many cars went well into and above the estimates, and that actually goes for cars from all different genres. You know, sometimes we talk about sort of a generational movement, and that the early cars, you know, pre-war, even cars from the teens, aren't as exciting anymore, as collectible. You know, one of our most valuable cars sold was a 1913 Mercer, which we sold for over $2 million. So
amazing. Wow.
The market is very good. It really is. It's strong. It's on an upward cycle. I certainly believe so, and I see it. The other thing is, it's been a while since the market really peaked. You know, in 2013, 2014, that was the last sort of peak of the market. What we saw in the next 2015, 2016, 2017 was a softer market. There wasn't as much, you know, there weren't as many big cars sold. And, you know, the more common cars like a 300 SL, you know, sure, they're very rare, but in the collector car world, they actually made over 3,000 Roadsters and Gullwings. So, and they were all trading, $1.5 million and more. At the peak, they certainly softened a bit, and they came back 25, 30, 35%. But they kind of stopped there, and they didn't really go below sort of $1 million mark. And I think that's a sign of, just how many enthusiasts enjoy these cars and look at each other and say, you know what? A 300SL should be worth $1 million because, you buy a brand new Mercedes, the fastest and the most exclusive model, which would sort of compare to what they built with a 300SL, it's worth $500,000. So the old one should be worth at least 2 or 3 times more. I think that's a very simple sort of
calculation
analysis that I sometimes do in my head. It's like, you know what? It really can't be worth less because look at how much an exclusive new car is worth.
Right.
That is not collectible. So it's been about 6 years since the market peaked, and fine, we all love cars and we want it to be just driven by enthusiasts. But for really the market to move, you do need, more money coming in, and you need more sort of investment thought process to drive it up. That's what happens, whether we like it or not. When something has been sort of flat for 6 years, I am sure there are many people that, sit in stocks and real estate and things and say, you know what, this has been a while and the bottom hasn't fallen out. This could probably have another upwards run. So that's why I think that we are in for a good next sort of 2, 3, 4 years.
I think so. Yeah, it sure feels like that. How would you advise somebody who's somewhat new, because we've got this whole next generation coming in behind us that they're starting to make money. Some people are making lots of money in this, let's say in the tech world, or people that are maybe 20 years behind me or 25 or 30, and they've sold maybe a business. They've been very fortunate and they want to get into collectible cars. What would be your best advice for somebody that's going to a Bonhams auction or is out there in the market looking for vehicles? Because you guys not only sell at your auctions, but you also help manage people's sales otherwise, correct?
We do, absolutely. I mean, my advice would be, and there's sort of 2 ways to look at it. You buy totally with your heart, or you buy totally with your head. I mean, if you buy, you should buy what you love and what you like. But if you love a bad car that had a horrible accident and has a non-matching engine, but you like it for some reason, if you buy that, it's probably not the best investment. The best investment, in my opinion, is always buying the best of the best. It's called a collector car for that very reason, because it's collectible. So you should buy the icons of sort of every decade. Great Duesenbergs, they will always be good. Great Alfa Romeos, Gullwing, 300SL, the cars that really made their mark on their specific era, and then buy sort of the best example, matching engine, either all original or restored by a reputable restorer. That to me, and I think if you look at it historically, that will always be the best cars. You buy a 30s Bugatti or Bentley differently than you buy a 1990s 993 Porsche. Some of the 1990s Porsches have become very collectible.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes we have people that are used to buying those coming to look at a car, a Duesenberg or something from the 30s, and they go, oh my God, I can't buy this car because the fenders were replaced in the 40s. So you can't
compare the different
cars.
genres. No, different things. Yeah, apples and oranges.
Yeah, and on a car from the 90s, you definitely want original paint. You don't want it to have been touched because you also don't want to restore a car like that.
Mm-hmm.
But a car from the 20s or 30s, of course, there has been things going on. And same if you buy a race car, of course, if it won races, it mostly has some scars. So at the end of the day, I would say always consult with a specialist of the certain brand. I mean, we know as car specialists, we know a little bit about everything, and I feel like we can navigate. And we know what to look for when we consign a car and all of that. But oftentimes, our best sort of help is really the mark specialist that just have done nothing else but study this certain model or certain brand of car.
Find an expert who can help you. And, the folks at Bonhams, they know these guys and they can direct you to the right people as well, which is wonderful. We're going to take a short break. We come back. I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that the pandemic has put on auction houses, how you guys have had to re-navigate through this difficult time and how you come out ahead. So keep that in mind and we'll be right back. I've discovered linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARSYEAH when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. Here at Cars Yeah, it's all about inspiration. And our charity of choice is TechForce Foundation, where it's all about making a positive difference in young people's lives. TechForce helps young adults discover their talents and passions for all things automotive, with a mission of helping students develop a career as a professional technician. TechForce awards nearly $2 million in scholarships every year for students to pursue technical education, and they support hands-on activities, events, and mentorships across the country, working to change the outdated perceptions of these careers. Auto techs are in high demand, but the supply of qualified technicians is critically short. They need your help to fuel their mission. Learn more and join me in supporting them at techforce.org. You know, the pandemic caught a lot of people off guard. Obviously, nobody could have dreamed this was coming. But the great thing is that everybody that is in business that is smart is very pliable, and they recognize things quickly and they do something about it. And you folks at Bonhams saw that. You made some adjustments, modifications, and just kept on going. So tell us a little bit about the challenges that created for you, how you had to change your path, and how you've come out on the other end. Although we're still kind of dealing with this mess. Hopefully it'll go away sooner than later.
Definitely. I mean, we started selling cars on our online platform, which we had developed, and we had sort of sold cars to online bidders for the last decade, so it wasn't that new to us. But I think the main challenge, or what we really improved on, was to make a buyer who's sitting, in a whole different country, thousands and thousands of miles away, confident with what he or she was bidding on. So
there you go.
Our condition reports, our history files, and all of that, we made digital, of course, where, traditionally people can walk up to our history file desk and look through the old files and things. That we all took and made digital, of course, and the inspections, we did the condition reports well in advance, so people really had time to look through those and all of that. But we, of course, also welcomed specialists. We always want to have the cars with Bonhams. We always want to have the cars in our possession so we can really make sure the transaction is smooth from start to finish. We want to have a title. We want to have all of that so there's no hiccups. And by doing that, we were, of course, able to invite buyers with social distancing measures in place or their mechanics or specialists to go and inspect the cars before bidding on them. And that's how we got through it. Yeah, we're able to sell cars during the pandemic. And again, as we talked about, it wasn't like the demand for old cars moved backwards. No, it actually moved forwards, and people had more time to look at and sort of sit and think about what they want, And
Right.
I remember clearly, right in the first couple of months of the pandemic, we certainly got some calls from people saying, "Where are the COVID deals? I want to get some."
COVID
let me know when
deals.
somebody wants to unload their collection because the sky's falling.
Right.
That never happened. I was never really able to call those guys back with a COVID deal. So,
well, good. I think that's probably a good thing. It sounds like taking advantage of a bad situation. But we're seeing that a little bit with large auctions, or collections, I should say, of people who have aged out or passed away and the family wants to let the cars go. That's a pretty common generational thing. Maybe the kids or spouse isn't into the cars like the gentleman was, or vice versa. So, we're just seeing a lot more of that, but that's just the nature of time. If you had to pick one This could be difficult, Jacob. Maybe not for you. If you had to pick one car you guys are bringing to auction at Quail this year that's really special just to you personally, doesn't have to be the most expensive, the most special to the world. It's what is special to Jacob. Which car would that be?
Well, it's tough. And I hope I will do what you just told me not to do, but I will mention two because we're selling, one is a P1800, which we're selling for the original owner. He bought it brand new in 1972. And, to be entrusted with somebody's car that they've owned all these years, it's very special. The other car was also bought brand new. I touched on this earlier. It's a 73 Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7, one of the most iconic Porsches ever made, which we're selling for a very good friend and client who bought it brand new. So that is... That's exciting. You just think about, wow, you're honored to have been chosen. And trust me, it's competitive among the auction houses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To have been chosen to sell this car for somebody who owned it for
their whole
50
life.
some odd years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very, I think it's pretty cool, Jacob, that you picked those two cars for that reason. It's a bit humbling, I think, when somebody makes that final decision, says, I'm going to, as you said, entrust this vehicle that I've cared for and loved all this time. I bought it new. And of course, the 1800, very unique car. You just don't see many of them around anymore because they mostly rusted away if they were just drivers. Of course, you see a lot of the 2.7 Carreras around, but I always had a special place in my heart for those cars. Just something about them.
They made a whole lot more P1800s than 27 RS.
No kidding.
For sure.
Yeah.
But, well, in the, where we travel, Mark, of course we see more you see a 27 RS and they made about 1,500 of them as we talked about. But yeah, to be entrusted with a car that somebody bought brand new, that is very special.
Yeah.
The P1800 is one of the ES versions, the sport wagons in cypress green with its original interior and paint and everything.
Wow.
It's pretty special. I'm from Scandinavia, so it's kind of cool to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get back to your roots.
That's it.
I love it. Now I'm going to crawl into your head a little bit here, Jacob. I become your psychiatrist today. If you were manifest as a vehicle, what would Jakob Greisen be? But more importantly, why?
I remember you asked me this question about 5 years ago, and it hasn't changed much. I would still be a 300S Maserati, sort of the perfect blend of a sports racing car you can drive to the grocery store if you're crazy enough, and I would do it.
Of course you would, yeah.
So something sort of the sweet spot for cars is, the late 50s, right before race cars became race cars and road cars became road cars. Sort of that's when you had a road car that you would also race because they really made some amazing cars. And the styling, everything in those years was just great. I've been fortunate enough to run the Mille a couple of times, and one time was in a 200S Maserati, another time a 300S Algoing. I mean, that's really when they made very special cars that you could also race. I ran this question by Caroline last night, my girlfriend, and she said, you should be an AC Cobra because you're kind of a hybrid because you grew up in Europe and now you live in America. So maybe I'm an AC Cobra. We actually have one of the real AC Cobras. I'm not sure how many know that, you had a Shelby Cobra and you had an AC Cobra. The Shelby Cobras were, of course, made down in Venice at Shelby's plant. He would get the body and the chassis flown over from AC, and he would put in the engine. They made a very small batch of cars for Europe and the UK as well, which they called AC Cobras because they actually, the body and chassis remained with AC, and Shelby would send the engine to them, and they would fit it. So these were some sold to Germany, some sold to, one or two sold to Sweden. This very car we're selling sold to Canada. And it's a factory left-hand drive. It's actually the rarest version of the Shelby Cobra, AC Cobra.
Wow.
They're small blocks, sort of the traditional slab-sided design, which for me personally is sort of the most pure. It's like an early E-Type. The first cars on early 911, the first cars are normally the purest design. We also have a couple of the 427 cars in the auction, which are Amazing cars, of course, but I really like the early 289s.
I do too. A little simpler. Yeah. Elegant. Well, it's as elegant as a Cobra could be. So,
and plenty fast.
But I love Caroline's comment there. And you listeners, if you missed my talk with Caroline, she's been a guest here on Cars Yeah. You can go back and find her on the Cars Yeah website. But I kind of like the 300S. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way. I love the 50s European sports cars. That would be pretty cool too. So, but I get it. How about a book? Is there a great book that you've read since we last spoke that you think our listeners would enjoy?
I read from front to back Peter Larson's different books. Peter Larson is, it's funny, we are both from Denmark. We actually grew up about 200 meters from each other.
What?
He's done some amazing books. They're these, it's not a book you travel with, you ship it. I mean,
they're massive.
They are. And I've been reading a lot lately in his Talbot Lago Grand Sport book because we have a Figonian Falashi body Talbot, so I've been reading through that. His books are just absolutely incredible. You can't do something like that on the internet.
No.
You just can't.
Peter's been a guest twice here on the show, and he just came back just recently to launch his newest book. And so I'll make sure I put a link to that on Jacob's show notes page. Yeah, these are books that you put on your shelf and have forever. I mean, they're just so in-depth and incredible history and research. I mean, it's just amazing. Takes a long time, and just the way they're even printed, the covers, the applique. I mean, just marvelous. So I'm glad you mentioned Peter.
Yeah.
But I had no idea you guys grew up down the street from each other. That's amazing.
Yeah, we did.
Wow, that's incredible. Very cool. Well, we're going to go on the ultimate drive here. I have a magic scepter which enables me to allow you to pick any car in the world, to be riding with anyone in the world, living or deceased, and driving anywhere you want in the world. So this is a bit of a fantasy drive. What does it look like for you?
Okay, so we can finish where we started. That would be with Elvis in his 507.
With Elvis, I love this.
Right?
Yeah.
He got a 507 right when he came out of the Army, and I believe it's owned by. It was in California for many years with a collector. And then it sold to BMW, I believe, who restored it and brought it back. I actually saw it at Goodwood a couple of years ago. It's white. So yeah, I would drive down the road with Elvis in a 507, one of the most beautiful cars. And I don't know what we would talk about. I would just want to learn everything about him.
That car, I saw that car on the lawn at Pebble.
Yeah.
One of the things that people used to say is the girls would go up to that car and kiss it and leave a lipstick mark. And on the lawn at Pebble,
really?
Somebody had done that. Yeah. I don't know if they did that before they brought the car in or if it was somebody's idea of having some fun. But I watched, I think it was a video on the restoration of that vehicle. Somebody had gone through a hand, had been painted red, I think, and they brought it back to its original color, which at first I thought white for one of those, but when I saw it, it works. Yeah, it works. Beautiful car.
It looks good in white. It's got to have the right sort of little bit creamy, not a refrigerator white, but they look really good, especially with rush wheels that are painted white.
Yeah.
Same with the 300SL.
Yeah.
300SL going in white with white painted rush wheels looks really good. And that was, Germany's racing color was white for many years before it became silver. That's a very good color on those.
Lovely. I love it. That is a unique answer to that question. I don't think anyone has chosen Elvis in his 507. I'm kind of surprised now that I think about it, but very cool. Well, you've taken us on a fun ride. I know this is a super busy time for you getting ready for another wonderful week down there at Car Week, Monterey, and the Quail, Pebble Beach, all of the wonderful events. No doubt you guys will have a very robust time. You listeners, you can go to the Bonhams website. I'll put links to it. They're easy to find if you want to see the car. Every year I go down there, I walk through your auction, and I think I need to run over and buy a lottery ticket. Wouldn't that be a dream come true? Win the lottery during Car Week, right before the Bonhams auction. That would be kind of fun. I could pick anything I want, or maybe all of them. So, hasn't happened though. Why does it never happen? Oh, well. It's nice to dream. Would you leave us with a little parting piece of wisdom, advice, a success quote, perhaps?
Sure. I believe the auction business is really about service above everything. We offer service to our buyers and sellers. That's something that we will never forget. We really want to take care of people in the right way. we're a specialist that knows these cars, and the service we offer is really the ultimate product we have, in my opinion.
You know, listeners, these guys do it right. So if you're fortunate enough to be down at Car Week, get over to the Quail and walk through the Bonhams display, go to the auction. Even if you're not buying, it's so exciting and fun to be there and watch the excitement, feel the excitement, and the people at Bonhams will take very good care of you for sure. Jakob, I'll let you get back to your real job. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. I wish you guys the best success at Quail. No doubt it will be a successful auction again, as all the Bonhams auctions are. Until you and I talk again, I'll see you at the Quail and the Bonhams auction during Car Week.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. What began as a charitable car show has grown into the world's greatest collector car auctions, raising over $133 million for charitable organizations to date. For nearly 50 years, automotive enthusiasts from all over the world have enjoyed the Barrett-Jackson collector car auctions, and I'm a huge fan. Regarded as the barometer of the collector car industry, their auctions are world-class lifestyle events where thousands of the world's most sought-after, unique, and valuable automobiles cross the block in front of a global audience, in person, on TV, or streamed online. Barrett-Jackson produces the world's greatest collector car auctions in Scottsdale, Arizona, Palm Beach, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, and new for 2021, Houston, Texas. The excitement of Barrett-Jackson auctions is contagious, and a unique experience is not to be missed.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.